It may be late August, but you can't blame some of the Fujitsu series drivers for having an eye on October and a certain mountain. In fact, 12 of the 28 drivers here this weekend will be lining up for the great race at Bathurst. Youngster Andrew Thompson has perhaps the best chance of taking out the big one, partnering V8 Supercars Championship leader and three-time Bathurst winner Jamie Whincup.
It's a huge opportunity for me to really go out and show what I'm capable of doing, but yeah, there is a fair bit of expectation from a lot of people with the seat that I'm filling. So hopefully I can do the job that's required from me, and they're happy with what I do, and hopefully we come away with a really good result.
Nick Percat will have the massive responsibility of teaming up with Garth Tander at Toll HRT for his first 1000, where winning the race is also a very real prospect.
It's a serious job. Just driving with Garth, I think in any team would be a lot of pressure. Obviously he's always at the front, and he knows exactly what wants from the car, and the co-driver. So I'm looking forward to working with him, because he's helped me since 2007, since I joined Walkinshaw Racing, and it's going to be a pretty good little story if it goes well. The guy that's mentored me through to a good result in Enduros.
Kelly Racing have put their confidence in Team Jayco teammates David Russell and Tim Blanchard, the latter making his debut in the 1000 with the informed David Reynolds.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. Bit of pressure, but like I said, I've worked with Dave quite a bit in the past at Sonic, and the engineer James Small. So we know each other very well, and looking forward to it.
Andrew Jones is again part of Brad Jones Racing's lineup. Cam McConville will saddle up with last year's champ James Courtney, while Jack Perkins could repeat history created by his father Larry when he teams with Russell Ingall in the super cheap Auto Commodore.
Russell definitely wants another Bathurst before he retires, and he's won 2 so far. But I guess it probably makes him feel pretty old that he's driving with me now, that there's a bit of footage floating around of when I was a young guy, when he won his first one with Dad. So look, I would give absolutely anything to be on the podium and get a Bathurst win with Russ. It'd be just a tremendous moment.
But this Enduro caper is all new territory for Miles Racing and young guns Chaz Mostert and Ash Walsh. They have been accepted as a wildcard entry and know that they have to be realistic about their expectations.
I feel quite ecstatic about it, but I mean, like in my career, I've only done this Fujitsu series this year in V8, so to get the chance to be in the big race and stuff like that is quite nerve-wracking and stuff like that, and hopefully I don't stuff the big boys race up, but just really looking forward to doing heaps of laps and just getting experience from it.
Cars on the warm-up lap for the final race of the weekend. 22 laps. It's slightly longer than races 1 and 2, and the grid is the combined points from the first 2 races. So McLaughlin and Morris, the teenager and the dirty dangerous dude on the front row of the grid, Andrew Jones and Cam McConville, former teammates on row 3. David Wall's been nice and consistent, and basically if you had a bad race 2, you don't go to the back for race 3 because it was a half points race, so you do have a chance to make up ground.
Very interesting conditions here in this race at Queensland Raceway. You can see the track is just still a little bit damp. Such a long race. You've really got to start on slick tyres, so it's going to make for a very interesting start.
Ashley Walsh, 21st, the local driver. He's from here in Ipswich, and he was so unlucky in race 2. He was just as fast as his teammate Chaz Mostert, but the rain light wasn't working. He was black flagged to pit lane and could not rejoin the race. So, time to decide it. Have a look at the road. It's a little bit slippery on the inside, so McLaughlin is going to have to be very, very careful. Away we go for race 3, and he's gone nowhere. The kid has been smoked.
You can really see the difference between the inside and the outside of the track, so bad luck for the guys on the inside, definitely. But you can see, great start for Paul Morris, but still gets done at turn 1.
David Russell leads the way. Andrew Thompson starting to carve his way through. There's Chaz Mostert. What a start he was in race 2, but you don't want to get offline because it still is greasy.
A very difficult start for Scott McLaughlin off the front row, falling all the way back to 7th before turn 1.
Now he's going to have to follow Andrew Thompson through the traffic. Tony Bates just up in front, who's had a really good weekend so far. David All here with Blanchard down the inside on Chaz Mostert. Race 2 and Andrew Jones in there as well. And Nick Percat fighting his way through. Yes, he had a good result in race 2, but it was only worth half point, so he has to do it all over again.
Yeah, very tough one for him. 22-lap race, still damp conditions. You can see everyone exercising a fair bit of caution on the first lap. You really want to get through the first lap, find the grip, see where it is, and work from there. David
Russell out in front. He's on a plane to Germany after this round to test a new Lamborghini GT car that will come into the country for the Bathurst 12-hour next year. But at the moment, he is leading the way. A long way to go. This car is an ex-Ford Performance Racing car, BF model. It's the older model Falcon, but it's still a very handy weapon.
But making the switch, actually, at the up-and-coming endurance events with my brother Todd in a Holden Commodore at Phillip Island and Bathurst.
Of course, the Fujitsu cars will be at Bathurst as well, so double duty for both Blanchard and Russell. Down the inside, that's Tim Blanchard on Tony Bates, who is learning the track still. First time here in a V8 Supercar. Had his screen fog up in race 2, and now he's having the whole cavalry charge at him in race 3.
Time for Nick Percat to attack out of 2 and under brakes into 3.
Good move up the inside, the Kotaya Commodore at its home event, of course. This is the Kotaya Ipswich 300 this weekend, the former Bathurst winning car from 2009 with Garth Tander and Will Davis on the wheel. Just behind there, the red and white Commodore. That's James Brock, who is driving for Greg Murphy Racing in the car that Jason Richards used to win that fantastic race 2 in the first round in Adelaide.
And you can see the track's still quite damp around the outside of the corners. You do not want to get stuck on the outside.
Grant Denyer getting assaulted here. Emery went around the outside, Gillison to the inside.
A lot of movers and shakers in this race, a lot going on. Cars moving from the back to the front. Again, trying to stay off the slippery line, particularly up the inside, as you can see.
Cam McConville here in the Rare Spares Commodore. This is the Ben Eggleston-owned car. It's actually your old toll car from 2007.
Really still out there kicking around, getting a few laps under his belt.
Roddy Jane here, FG Falcon. This is the newer model Ford, chasing down Aaron McGill, who's got new colours this weekend, the most experienced man in the Fujitsu series, but I don't think he's going to be able to hold off this ex-Craig Lowndes Ford.
Very late dive. Oh, contact on entry at turn 3. Doesn't get it done.
McGill will have the inside for the run to turn 4, but Jane's got a bit too much go and will get the spot.
And he lets him go.
Tony Bates in front, Marcus Zukanovic just behind. Cam McConville here, keeping the pressure on Andrew Thompson, who runs wide at turn 6.
Still being very, very cautious in these conditions, not making a big impact. He's got the car to do it.
Let's have a look. Replay after start. Everyone on the left of screen on the inside really struggled for grip, and the rest of them down the outside just blew them away.
Yeah, it's not very fair, but it's the way it is, unfortunately. You just really got to get out there, give it a go. You see Nick Percat jumping on the slippery line on entry as well and locking up a brake.
Replay turn 3. Oh, Jeff Emery makes a big boo-boo and whacks into the side of Taz Douglas.
Yeah, not an ideal move down there. I'm not sure what will get done about that, but something should be.
I think there'll be a penalty coming post-race for that one. David Russell leads the way. Morris, Perkins, McConville, Thompson, McLaughlin, David Wallen. Our computer screen here is going haywire with all these position changes. It's affecting who will win the round or who will stand on the podium, because remember, in the Fujitsu series, we still run under the round format where all your points count towards the end of the weekend result.
And after the poor start, you can still see McLaughlin down in 6th place. So if he wants to win this round, he's really got to make a charge.
Oh, Aaron McGill is bogged. Turn 6, and the S-Solo Ford is, well, all by itself. It's solo in the gravel. Thompson up the inside, gets the move on McConville, but just as he did that, we got the call that the safety car's coming out, so that was a little bit tight.
Did he get it done?
Well, you know about passes under yellow flags with Cameron McConville involved, don't you?
Yeah, I was wrong in that instance, believe me.
And speaking of wrong, that's Daniel Gillison.
Very big dive there for sure.
Now, he's had his worst weekend of the year. He's been so solid, the young Kiwi, but it's all come undone this weekend. Perkins at turn 3. Now that's David Russell running wide and handing the lead to Paul Morris. That happened just before the safety car came out. So we'll take a break, take a breath, come back with the run home. Time for a restart in the Fujitsu V8 Supercar Series at Queensland Raceway. It's nose to tail, and Paul Morris has not got the jump. David Russell is down the inside and will take the lead.
Great move on the opening lap. Very difficult to do after a safety car has just pulled in. Always the advantage normally goes to the track leader, so very good job by David Russell there.
Have a look at them banked up. They are nose to tail here, Rick. It's Russell, Morris, Perkins, Thompson, McConville, McLaughlin, Wall, Jones, and I ran out. I nearly got through them, but we're on board with Perkins here. Looking back at the series leader, Andrew Thompson.
Now the track's dried up a little bit. You can see Andrew Thompson gaining confidence back in the dry conditions, starting to really charge forward.
He won the last 2 rounds of this series at Barmagallo in Perth and also on the streets of Townsville. We're on board with Jack Perkins. He is under pressure from Cam McConville, winner last year on the streets of the Gold Coast with Garth Tander. And look at this, he's been left 1 out and 1 wide, and McLaughlin is trying to get in the gap.
Didn't quite make it stick though, but McLaughlin trying to fight his way back to the front where he belongs from the first 2 races.
David Wall is going with them as well. The Wilson Security Commodore, run by the Tony D'Alberto team. This is the original VE Commodore produced by Walkinshaw Racing in 2007. It's still racing on hard. In the background there, Percat gets a move on Chaz Mostert, but impressive pace here. David Russell just starting to stretch a margin.
He certainly is, but McLaughlin really wants to move forward and win the round. His first ever round win would be very, very impressive, but you've got such a tough field in front of him to get through. Going to be tough.
Look at Mostert, picks up 2 spots. He got by Tom Tweedy, then got James Brock, who
seems to have a problem there.
Yeah, he ended up really wide at turn 2 and has lost heaps of ground. But Russell is the man making pace. He has not won a race this year. That's Brett Stewart in the sand. This is the next Paul Morris car that the team have been running for the Western Australian. Does it all by himself.
Yeah, causing another safety car, bunching the field up for the run home.
And that's the last thing that David Russell would want at this point in time. Had pulled a little bit of a margin on Paul Morris. And that is the Dirty Dangerous Dude t-shirt as modelled by the dude's girlfriend Belinda. Looking good, looking sharp. Scott Jennings and the crew watching on as Morris lines up second under the safety car on the mega wall. We've got it all covered. Pit lane, the boys from 888 Race Engineering. That's Dave Couchy in front, data engineer. Ty Friel in the middle, and Adrian Burgess, team principal, just behind, keeping an eye on Andrew Thompson, who has pressure at Phillip Island and Bathurst. There is no 2 ways about it. But he's got a chance here to win his 3rd round in a row as we get set for this restart.
Yeah, now it's all up to David Russell to go when he pleases as soon as the safety car is in pit lane. Now it's up to him to get a good gap and a good solid run home, which he's going to try and do.
Now, Paul Morris did not get a jump on the last restart. David Russell will be mindful of that. He needs to get going and leave Morris to contend with the rest of them, and he's done a very good job on the restart.
All in all, pretty clean so far.
Turn 1, run home, 10 laps to go.
Oh, slide. He is keen to get a gap, you can see.
There is no doubt about it. This kid does not leave anything on the table. He will drive this thing right to the end, but he's got to be so worried because Thompson's car is so good and it looks after its tyres so well.
Still 10 laps to go, though. These guys have to be conscious to make your tyres last.
Remember, in the Fujitsu series, they get 2 sets of new tyres and they run the hard tyre from Dunlop. They don't use the softer compound tyre that you use regularly in the V8 Supercars Championship.
Yeah, and we've also had 1 race in the wet, so these tyres should be in pretty good condition.
On board, Jack Perkins, ex-888 Falcon, the 2008 Bathurst winning car. Down the inside, there's a move. Aaron Russell in that green and white Ford going by Marcus Sukanovic, who struggled this weekend but did pick up the Armour All Sass Award. $500 to the Action Racing team is a little bit of a way to leave this weekend with something in their pocket for what's been a pretty tough run at DNF and a 21st place.
Now David Russell, after the first lap, got a little bit of a gap, so really time for him to settle into a rhythm, look after his tyres and try and maintain that lead till the end.
Great shot, the run down from turn 1. That's Robert Cregan in the silver Madcroc Ford having a look at the inside of James Brock. Russell, though, has pulled a margin, but that car looks tailored.
Headlights on for Andrew Thompson, trying to move forward to take the round win. Behind Morris now, not going to be easy to make a move on Morris. We know he can be tough to pass sometimes.
Have we rewound the tape here? No, this is Brett Stewart off again.
Again, he's not happy. You can see him inside the car shaking his head.
Just his 3rd round in the Fujitsu series, and he has got the Interquick Commodore buried. John Russell there.
These guys think it's funny.
Yeah, he thinks it's funny because it gives them another chance to catch David Russell. John's the engineer for the Monster Commodore of Andrew Thompson, and I'm just counting down to the safety car because there's no way that we won't have one with that car in the gravel.
That's a lot of safety cars. Good chance for guys who haven't had a good run to try and move forward and keep bunching the cars up to attack in the last few laps here.
McConville up the inside, Perkins is wide, and he's stuck out on some of that dirt and debris that has been left behind from earlier races, and he's lost McLaughlin a spot. Blanchard's got him as well. Or has he?
Certainly got the right line for the inside to turn one. Jack slipping back a couple of spots there on the debris at the last corner. Poor drive from him on that dirt, and he's going to learn from that one and probably come back pretty strong, young Jack. He's got a lot of experience in this category and in the main game, so we expect him to make a bit of a charge.
Out in front, David Russell leads the way. More to come in the Fujitsu Series from Ipswich. We're racing on at Queensland Raceway with the Fujitsu Series. The safety car has stayed in pit lane. We're going to go green to the end. And there's been plenty of passing. Thompson past Morris. Mostert past Andrew Jones, Rick Kelly, but Jones got back down the inside, and then it got messy.
Yeah, look, this looks very, very rude from Andy Jones. Just tags him on the exit, doesn't leave him quite enough room to go around the outside and spins him onto the infield.
The Simpro Software Ford ended up getting back on the road, but the pressure is coming, and Russell is feeling it. He's wide on the exit of 2, and he's going to block to turn 3 because he knows that Thompson has got speed.
You can certainly see Thompson's tyres holding in so much better on the exit of 2. Russell having a bit of a slide, but manages to block a little bit and keep Thompson behind, but still 2.5 laps to go. Can he hold him out?
He's going to have to run it up the inside of the run to turn 4. And this will start to test the patience of the series leader. But remember, he's got a big, big margin. He doesn't need to do anything silly.
Certainly does. An important race for Russell, though. You can see how desperately he wants to win this, being a little bit defensive to Thompson, but Thompson really starting to plan his attack in the remaining corners in this race.
And he's just pulled a margin in this second part of the lap, Rick. He's just a bit stronger through those double lefts that lead to this final turn 6. But from here on in, Thompson looks like he's got him covered, particularly off that fast turn 2.
You can see how much more drive Thompson's got out of those slower corners, particularly turn 3 and turn 6. Already closed that gap. Russell struggling with his tyres.
Oh, Rodney Jane, that's a big let go. Bob Jane T-Mart's Ford will go straight to the lane.
Very handy spot for the engine to let go, rolls into pit lane.
It's never a good spot for an engine to let go. Now,
bouncing around, drops 2 wheels off again,
he's in
moves
drama
to the
here.
inside.
He can't keep doing this because, quite simply, Thompson is going to keep mowing him down. He'll hold the inside line at turn 3, but what he wants to do, he wants to cover it on the run of 4, but he just doesn't have the run out of the turn.
Yeah, look at Thompson all over him like a rash on the corner exit. Oh, in the dirt for Thompson, trying to pass Russell. Looks like he's got an overlap, even with running a little wide there. Gets the job done.
He finally gets on through, and that pass puts him into the lead, not just for the race, but he will also clinch the round if he can bring it home from here. But points to David Russell. He just continually takes it up to this team. This car is older. Thompson makes a mistake. There's a glimmer of hope here.
It certainly is, but you can see how much better performing the monster car is than the Jayco car. I mean, this guy's got a little bit of an advantage at this track, particularly being the 888 home track as well. You can see it looks after its tyres well.
Scott McLaughlin here having a lunge up the inside on Cam McConville.
Oh,
that
so
was close.
close.
Just locked the right front, but McLaughlin's on target for another podium finish. He's already had 2 this year. This would be 3 from 4, which would be fantastic for the young Fujitsu driver who just 2 years ago was racing go-karts.
Yes, it's certainly very impressive. Some really great experience he's got this weekend to gain his first race win. And like you say, another podium for the round. He's certainly moving up in this category.
And he's keeping the pressure on Cam McConville all the way to the checkered flag. Remember that this is round 4 of 7. We still have Bathurst, Sandown and Sydney Olympic Park yet to come, but Thompson has put himself in the box seat to win the development category for the first time. He's been in this series before with Dick Johnson Racing and Howard Racing, but he is at home with this team. He says, this is the best car, it's the best crew, they understand the way I drive, they understand how I need to go about it, and he has understood exactly what to do in this third and final race. He's off the final turn, and it will be 3 round wins in a row to Monster and 888. Thompson wins at the paperclip.
Very solid effort, pulling a gap on Russell for second in the final couple of laps there after the pass. Still some solid drives throughout the whole field for today's racing.
Yeah, David Russell did a really good job. Second in that one. Paul Morris will pick up a podium too. He finishes in position number 3, but Thompson too strong. McConville 4th. Scott McLaughlin gets to the podium as well. Blanchard had a better run in race 3 for 6th, and Andrew Jones rounded out the top 10, the BOC Commodore. In terms of the round, Thompson, Morris, McLaughlin, Russell just missed the podium, McConville 5th from Jones, Jack Perkins 7th, Wall, Blanchard and Mostert rounded out the top 10. Scott McLaughlin, congratulations from Damien White from V8 Supercars and from Paul Morris, but Kylie is with our winner.
Thank you.
Well, that's what racing's all about. You waited till the last minute, though.
Yeah, no, we got a little bit close for probably our comfort, but we sort of fought back after a disappointing race 2, and the car was really strong. Like, we had a really good qualifying, and we had a good race 1, but that one we really had to fight for it, and we had to pass some pretty fast cars, and in the end we just got past David to take the win and also the round win. So it's it's awesome.
So championship points, and Thompson pulls 154 clear. McLaughlin to 3rd. Perkins slips down to position 4, and Tim Blanchard sits position 5, but there's still 900 points on the line in the final 3 rounds of the series. Thompson, Morris and McLaughlin stand on the podium at Queensland Raceway. 888 win on their home test track. The next round we go to the mountain. Round 5 of 7 is at the Super Cheap Auto Bathurst 1000, and you can see both races as part of our weekend coverage from the Great Race. Thanks to Rick Kelly and the whole team, I'm Aaron Noonan. We'll see you next time with the Fujitsu V8 Supercar Series.